So you've decided that this is your year to run a marathon, but you might be really new to the sport or it's been a long time since you've been back at it. Now, some people might tell you to take a different approach and go for the shorter distances first, maybe even including me, but I know from firsthand experience that once your mind is made up, you are on a mission. Since you've already made this decision and you're looking for the route that's going to get you there both safely and effectively, as a running coach, I've put together a framework that is going to allow you to get that never say never big goal. So the first thing that you want to do is take care of the simple basics. So this means basically getting what you need so that you can get out there and run. This is shoes, moisture wicking clothing, and a GPS device that can track your runs, and that can be as simple as using an app on your phone. The tip here is do not make it more complicated than it has to be. So for the shoes, what I want you to do is go to a local running store, get fitted, get an opportunity to try those shoes out, either running a little bit outside or running on the treadmill. And ultimately, you need to choose the pair of shoes that is most comfortable for you so that you know you're gonna want to run a lot of miles in them. And the last thing that I would recommend as far as these simple basics is to just make sure that you are in the health to continue on this endeavor. So for some of you, that may mean consulting with a healthcare professional so that they give you the green light. Second important step is to start training sooner than you think that you need to. Most marathon training plans that you'll find online are between 16 and 20 weeks. Even the ones that are labeled beginner marathon training might be in this amount of time. But what you want to remember is a lot of those plans labeled for beginners are not for beginner runners. They are just for people who are running their first marathon perhaps. So some of them may have quite a bit of experience running and racing beforehand. They've just never run the distances before necessary to build for that marathon. And those are two very different things. If you are someone who is pretty much starting from scratch, you want to make sure that you have more time to put towards building for that marathon. And that means looking for something that has both base training and marathon training in it as well. And you want to start months and months in advance to just get used to this routine before you even throw yourself into what would be called marathon training. Being prepared as possible and having more time means that you can avoid those overuse injuries, that you'll avoid having a grueling experience in the marathon, and overall just enjoy the process and hopefully have a very lasting positive memory of your first marathon. This is why I've put together an 8-month roadmap to marathon success that focuses on time-based running. Though the length of this may sound daunting, I want you to think of this as your opportunity to just get very comfortable running a few days a week right now. Maybe that's a walk run right now, and this is your routine, and it's becoming ingrained long before we start that marathon training block. And so you're not marathon training for 8 months. You are just getting in the habit, building the habit, and becoming a runner in the process, as opposed to someone who is just ticking off runs so that you can check off the marathon. So this leads me to point 3, and that's to make sure that you have a solid plan. So whether you end up choosing this one that I am sharing here or a different one that you feel like is more fit to you, you need to take the time to really decide that this is going to meet you where you're at right now. It's going to serve your needs for the entire time block that you'll be utilizing as you build to your marathon, and it also aligns with your goal. As a true beginner ready to conquer the marathon, you want to make sure that you choose a plan that increases little by little so that your body has time to adapt to the training and your mind has time to adapt to the training as well. So your mind is a powerful thing and you have to believe that you can do this week by week. And so the goal of this 8-month plan is that the increases are really so minor each week that you barely even notice them. So it really does give your mind and body time to make those adaptations to the point where it just all becomes second nature. My goal is always to help people sustain their running over the long term and think of this more as a long game versus just a one-off event that you're going to be checking off. You can access this plan, which includes strength training as well as some cross-training guidance for free below. There's also a link to be able to purchase the plan to use on the Final Surge platform. So you might be thinking, well, why would I purchase it when I can get it for free? And I just love the dynamic interface that Final Surge allows. It's what I use for my one-to-one athletes and anyone who gets a customized plan from me. And it just allows you to log notes if you want to do that. It gives you all the data that you would want to see, such as your mileage, your paces, heart rate, elevation, as well as it also gives you workout notifications so that you know exactly what's coming on your plan. But ultimately, you know you best. And the reality is whatever is going to help you stick to the training is what I recommend that you choose. So next, what is this running going to look like? I know it can seem really overwhelming when you think about the big picture and just nailing down all of the runs. And what is that even going to look like on a day-to-day basis? So the fourth thing that I want to talk about is you want to make sure that you start slow and you include walk breaks. As a beginner runner embarking on this marathon journey, chances are you can't run very far yet without getting winded, and that is completely normal when you are starting out as a new runner. Remember that taking walk breaks does not make you any less of a runner, and in fact, it's going to get you to your goal sooner than trying to always force yourself to run and have this high heart rate and be breathing really, really hard, or to the point where you can't even finish the runs completely because you need to stop. So what I recommend for including those walk breaks is that you go at that slowest pace that you need to sustain the running for as long as possible. And then when you feel like your heart rate is starting to creep up or you can't continue to hold a conversation, then that's your cue to stop and take a walk break. You'll walk as long as you need in order to feel recovered. And then at that point, you can start running again at that pace you were running at before. Go as long as you can, take a walk break when you need, and it will continue on like that. So the first week will all probably look pretty similar. You'll be able to go a little bit farther than the next week, a little bit farther the next week, with the goal of that first month would be that you can sustain all of that time running. Now, if you feel more comfortable doing a run walk method this entire time, you can absolutely do that. But the way that the plan is written, if you follow it, then you should be able to build that endurance that you need to sustain the running over the time periods that have been given. It progresses in a way that's going to allow you to do so. Now, nearly all of the running in this plan, except for some strides later on, is easy running. And that's because we need to build your aerobic endurance for you to be able to stretch that marathon distance. This particular event is about 99% aerobic, which means you need to build your aerobic engine to go all 26 miles and do that strong. So don't worry that you're not seeing any speed work in this plan. You are going to be running volume you've never experienced before. And we want to make sure that we're not coupling intensity with new volume, as that can put someone at risk for injury. And so instead, we want to get the biggest bang for our buck, focus on what is most important, and that is lots and lots of easy running, time on feet, and building that volume week after week. The fifth thing that's really important to nail down early on is proper fueling and hydration. As a coach, I've seen that this can be a big area where runners struggle, typically not getting enough fuel pre-run, not getting enough fuel during the run, and not hydrating enough, which all of that is going to lead to low energy, possibly feeling very low energy as the run finishes, to where you can't sustain the pace that you would normally if you're fueling and hydrating, and not recovering well either. Now, this is a really big topic with a lot of ins and outs. And so within that plan, I'm going to link to a video that will help guide you in your fueling and hydration choices to make sure that you understand what that looks like for every type of run, depending on the time that it's going to take you or the intensity that it's calling for. But what I will tell you is now is the perfect time to secure a hydration vest and start testing out some fuels to see what works well with your body. The earlier you can start adapting your body to taking in fuel before and during your run, the better it's going to go as you move along. You don't want to wait all of a sudden that you're only fueling once you get to these much, much longer runs and your stomach's revolting because it's never had this before. You want to let your body have time to get used to digesting on the run. So as part of this framework, it's really important for me to tell you to be consistent. My biggest advice to you is do not overcomplicate this journey. The most important thing is that you are getting out for the runs on your schedule. Once you nail those very first basics I talked about, it's just getting out and doing it. I'm going to tell you right now, this isn't going to be an easy journey. Nothing worth having is easy. And you chose to do this for a reason, because you knew that it was going to be something hard that you would accomplish. So you have to get that fact out of the way right now, that you are putting yourself through something that's new and challenging. And so difficulties are naturally going to come along with that. So essentially, the most simple thing I can tell you is, if you have a run on your schedule, go do it. It might end up that there's more walking than you want to do. It may not feel amazing, but the best run is a done run, and just know that it is checked off and you can do better on the next one. You're moving forward and just thinking of it in bite-sized pieces. Don't be looking at this thing so much as a whole and keep making it daunting and all that you have to do. Just take a look at your schedule. What do you need to get done? Get it done. And your body will make those adaptations that it needs to, so that you are ready at the end of these 8 months to complete your marathon. Do it well and have a wonderful experience. I'm so excited for you to embark on this marathon journey. There is nothing more in my life that I've done for myself personally that's been more rewarding than my running journey. So I'm so excited to be able to help you as you begin yours. So this 8-month roadmap to your marathon success is ready to download right now at the link below. If you are someone who feels like you would benefit more from one-to-one coaching, be able to get your questions answered along the way, needs a little bit more guidance, our team is also ready to help you with that. In the meantime, happy running, and I'll catch you in the next one.